Today we're going to be looking at all the balance changes and everything that Elden Ring's patch 1.07 added to the game, and it was released yesterday, which was the 13th of October. So a lot of PvPers are going to be extremely happy about this patch, and let's get into that side of things first. I honestly love that they're taking their time between patches, you know, and it shows that they're listening to community feedback. They want this game to be great, whether you're doing PvE or PvP, and it shows that they really care. And I think it's nice that they're not changing things or making balance changes that come or result from knee-jerk reactions from the community, unlike some other developers. Apex Legends, am I right? So let's look at the PvP exclusive balance adjustments. They increase stamina attack power in PvP for all attacks against guarded foes, except for long-ranged weapons. That's a good thing. Improved poise damage in PvP for every weapon's normal attack, except for skills and long-ranged weapons. With a few exceptions, the power of Ashes of War in PvP has been lowered across the board, and they also decrease the damage of some of these incantations. Dragonfire, Gil's Flame, Glintstone Breath, Rotten Breath, Dragon Eyes, Borealis' Mist, and so on and so forth. And to make it easier, instead of just putting screenshots after screenshots on the video, you will see me scrolling through the patch notes on my phone, so I think it'll be easier to see. Now, the most important thing they added is that they added separate damage scaling for PvP, which means that a weapon or an Ash of War that can be extremely strong in PvE will not have the same strength in PvP, which means there's a lot less things that the players will be able to abuse, like bleed being extremely good. That will probably tone this down a lot. And magic, of course, because we all know magic is really good in PvP as well, because you don't have to be in your opponent's face, right, to do damage. I think that was a really smart choice. Now, I don't personally do PvP because all my save files are extremely modded, so I don't want to take the chance of getting banned. But I am really happy for the PvP community that now they really have something to chew on while we wait for a DLC. Now let's move on to general balance adjustments. They did a lot of buffing of Colossal weapons and poise when it comes to weapons, and then when it comes to gear and armor as well. So let's go through them. They increased poise damage when using two-handed normal attacks. They increased the speed of some Colossal sword attacks. The speed and hit detection of Colossal sword, crouching and rolling attacks have been decreased. So a little bit of a nerf here. Increase the speed of some Colossal weapon attacks, decrease recovery time for Colossal swords and Colossal weapons, except for jump attacks, dual-wielded attacks, and attacks while riding. Increase poise damage of hammers, great hammers, and some Colossal weapons. So if you want to use a big bonk build in this game, it's probably the best time to do so, and I have a few on my channel if you're interested. They also increase guard penetration for the following weapons: Celebrant Sickle, Nox Flowing Sword, Shuttle, Eclipse Shuttle, and some of the sights as well. Now, as I was saying, they increase the poise rating of some attacks for the following weapons: Great Swords, Colossal, Curved Great Swords, Great Axes, Great Hammers, Great Spears, and Halberds. And for the poise on armors, just look at the Crucible armor. It used to have, just the chest speed itself, it used to have 33 poise, and now it has 47. So they increased it a lot, which means you won't have to use that big bulky armor that turns your character into a freaking bowling ball. With some exceptions, poise of all armor has been increased to be able to have good poise and be able to poise through enemy hit, which makes sense because if you're using really heavy armor, some hits will just not affect your balance as much. So they made the Great Shield Talisman and the Hammer Talisman better, which increases your guard boost, and the Hammer Talisman increases your damage against blocking enemies. So now you'll do even more damage. But the thing that really interests me is this point right here. Decrease the status buildup done by dual-wielded weapons. So you know how the curved swords are really amazing at making people bleed, freezing people, or just any status effect you put on your weapon, because they have this moveset where you're jumping, where you're running at an enemy and hitting them. You're actually hitting them 4 times, and so it used to apply status effects extremely quickly, right? But if you can see by the footage, it's taken quite a while for the status effect to build up. I put bleed on both of these, and most of the enemies die before the status effect of bleed even happens. The only enemy it happened on was the one that had the bigger health bar, of course. So I definitely do notice a difference. So it's not a insignificant change. Now there is a ton of balance adjustments for magic and incantations, so they buffed a crap ton of things. And most notably, Poison is now pretty close to being viable. Frost is back to where it used to be before the nerf, and it's pretty freaking good. Honestly, it makes me want to make sort of a Frost Knight build, which is probably what I'm gonna do next, so be on the lookout for that. So they increase the attack power of Glintstone Pebble and Shard Spiral. They increase the attack of a Lightning Spear and Flame Sling when they're charged. They increase the stamina attack power against guarded enemies of Rejection, Wrath of Gold, and Black Flame. They increased the casting speed of Crystal Burst and Triple Rings of Light. They extended the effect time of Assassin's Approach and Law of Causality. They increased Frostbite status buildup of Glintstone Ice Crag, Freezing Mist, and Frozen Armament. They increased the Poison status buildup of Poison Mist and Poison Armament. And they decreased the FP consumption of a ton of incantations and sorceries, as you can see on the left side of your screen. They also made some changes to the Briars spells, so the Briars of Sin and Briars of Punishment, and increases the casting speed, which is really good because I do love using those spells. However, it was so long to cast them, sometimes more often than not you would get punished for using them. And it also increases the blood loss status, so those are extremely viable right now. And it seems they increase the power and reduce the stamina and FP consumption of a lot of other spells like Shatter Earth, Black Blaster, Starlight, Stars of Ruin, Founding Rain of Stars, which is funny, didn't they nerf Stars of Ruin in the previous patch? Magic Glintblade was also buffed, Carrion Piercer, Dula's Moonblade. Now Zammer Ice Storm has also been buffed, so again, like, I really want to test all this Frost stuff out because it's going to be freaking awesome. They also buffed the Frozen Lightning Spear, which is awesome because it did cost a ton of FP, but it didn't do a ton of Frostbite damage for what it cost, you know. And they also buffed a lot of flame incantations. Flame of the Fell God, Whirl o' Flame, Burn o' Flame, so that's really good because fire magic did feel a bit underwhelming, and it was really hard to make like an actually good fire build, but now it's gonna be way easier. They also changed some stuff with Black Flame incantations like Noble Presence and Scouring Black Flame. And in the next section, they show all the buffs they made to Ashes of War, and now there is a crap ton that they changed. Like, they buffed so many things, especially those Ashes of War where, you know, you never really used because they were kind of underwhelming. And they did like next to no damage, like all the roars and all just the normal Ashes of War. And now it doesn't change the gameplay, it doesn't change the fact that they are a bit bland to use, but now they actually do damage, so they are way more viable. And it will give you more a reason to actually use them. But it also made changes to all the other Ashes of War, like Blood Tax, Loretta Slash, Poison Mothlight, Stormcaller, which was, you know, one of the most disappointing Ashes of War I've ever gotten in my life. Bloody Slash was actually buffed again, which is weird because they nerfed it so bad last time. So there's a reason to use Bloody Slash over Bloodblade now, that's nice. And don't forget to use it if you're having trouble against the twin gargoyles. They buffed Lifesteal Fist, which is freaking awesome. Also increased Chilling Mist, Poisonous Mist, the Kick, which is really funny. Maybe you can actually make a good Spartan build now. And again, as I mentioned, all the War Cries, Troll's Roar, Braggart's Roar, all of those have extended duration of effects, or they increase attack power, which is really good. Some heals were buffed, like Holy Ground, increased HP recovery amount. Raptor of the Mist reduced FP consumption. Flame Spit improved projectile range. They even buffed the Reduvia, which is freaking hilarious. Increased attack power, added damage detection to the weapon part. They did some nerfing to Seppuku, so they increased damage taken when you activate it, and they reduced the bleed status buildup on the weapons when you use the buff. So sorry Seppuku, but yeah, you can move aside now because Bloodblade and Bloody Slash will take center stage. And of course, they added a ton of bug fixes. A lot seems like they were exploits of items you could get, but a lot of them are also just bugs pertaining to certain weapons, certain animations. So all in all, I think this was a really great patch. So let me know what you guys think about this patch. There was a ton to go through. I didn't want to like read every single bullet point. I will leave a link to it in the description if you guys want to read through it. And if you're looking for a Discord, a friendly Discord to join, the link to mine is also in the description of every video, so everyone is welcome to join. And other than that, everyone, have yourself a wonderful day, and I'll see you all very soon.